Donald Trump has created a really bizarre political problem for himself. And the problem relates to what's happening in Iran, but the problem is not in any way Iran. It's a bigger problem for Trump. And the problem for Trump is he keeps announcing everything is over and complete, and then it turns out that it isn't. And I'm not even talking about only Iran here. We'll start with Iran. Think about how many times we've heard the war is over, we won, victory, Iran has agreed, they will never have a nuclear weapon, they're going to give up their uranium dust, the negotiations are done. And he keeps talking as though every issue has been completely resolved. And then a couple days later, well, there's another meeting, there's another negotiation, there's another threat, there's another strike, which is just what we saw over this weekend, as we already talked about. That is really the story of the administration, rather than what is taking place in Iran. It's declaring victory on issues before there is any victory to declare. And we have a long history of this in American politics. One of the biggest ways to create problems for yourself instantly in American politics is you declare that the mission has been accomplished when the mission hasn't really been accomplished. And once you tell everyone, hey, we've crossed the finish line, everything that happens is judged against that claim. And so when you declare victory, the setbacks become more noticeable. I'll give you a different example. July of 2020, Trump says, we have a new health care plan. It's going to be signed into law within 2 weeks. We've still not even seen the plan. Never mind, of course, it hasn't been signed into law. And so now every time we talk again about Trump and healthcare, we are reminded of, and we are judging that against the claim that, listen, you said this was solved in July of 2020, even though it wasn't. And so with Iran, every time there's another negotiation, we go back to, you told us this thing was over 40 times already. And that's where Trump is right now. Now, I think there's also one other problem Trump may not even realize that he's creating. If you are still negotiating with another country, why would you go out and say we've already won everything? Because if you go look at basic negotiating texts, and negotiation is a bigly studied academic topic, if you tell your supporters Iran has folded and they agreed to everything and it's complete victory, what happens when you still need Iran to agree to something? You've given them more leverage. You've backed yourself into a corner. And every time you need something now, Iran goes, he already declared victory to Americans. We have leverage because he needs to stick to, we won. And every single unresolved issue becomes very awkward politically because you already said it was all taken care of. Now, Trump has a different perspective. Trump has short-term thinking. He goes, I benefit from announcing a victory. The stock market goes up every time I do. But the problem with that is you're giving away later benefit. You're giving away negotiating leverage, and you end up weakening your own position. There would have been nothing wrong with Trump saying, these negotiations are difficult, they're ongoing, we're making progress, I hope that we get there. That is the way that someone more skilled in diplomacy would talk. But Donald Trump thinks that it's better to just declare victory. Now, there is a perspective from some in MAGA, and I believe Trump believes this as well, that if they think you're unpredictable, it benefits you. You take leverage back by being unpredictable, by being the guy who they might be negotiating with, but Trump might bomb us. But the problem is that being seen as crazy does not make you respected. It only makes people know we're dealing with a crazy person. Let's manage that. So diplomacy usually is messy, and conflicts don't tend to end with a dramatic announcement and then everybody goes home and moves on to something else. You've got follow-up talks and disagreements and implementation issues. That's totally normal. What's not normal is announcing everything is done 40 times before it ever is, and creating a problem where you just give away leverage. Trump says that he is a great person to be president because he's such a great businessman and he understands negotiation. When we study Trump's business record, it's not so good. But when we study Trump's negotiation skills, they kind of seem even worse, if I'm totally honest. And then it's tomorrow, and you've got another set of contradictions, and you've got another set of contradictions, and credibility becomes the big problem. When people don't believe you, the next time you say it, you are going to have a problem that is bigger than anything a social post can solve. So I don't know where this is going. I want economic stability. I don't like looking at my retirement account and seeing that it's cratering because of the things that Donald Trump is doing. Like that's it's just me thinking about myself. And also it's terrible for the country. So what is the end game? Well, Trump should first of all shut up and let negotiators negotiate, something very difficult for Donald Trump to do. Appreciate you watching. Stick around for this next video, and don't forget to hit subscribe so you actually see our uploads. You can also catch the full podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.